Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear learners. I welcome you to English Grade 9 video lessons. I'm your instructor Zia Hamid. I hope that you're doing well. So, as you know that we are dealing with unit number 2, a visionary leader. The competency is writing, lecture number 7. So, we are dealing with the competency of writing in this lesson. So, let's get started by reading our students' learning outcome. We are dealing with two SLOs here merged into one video lesson because they are kind of the same. So the students learning outcome is number 1, apply the techniques of writing the first draft with sufficient details like proofreading and editing details to suit the purpose and audience. Secondly, we have this follow the steps of process approach to plan for writing a paragraph in which we were brainstorming, structuring, mind mapping using a variety of graphic organizers, free writing and note taking. So let's break down our student learning outcome. First, we have this techniques of writing the first draft. We will see what is a first draft and how can we come to the point of making a first draft using our details like and pre-writing techniques like proofreading, editing, and other, also keeping in mind the audience and purpose. Secondly, we will be seeing the process approach of writing to write any text, any paragraph, essay, or any text type. We will be seeing techniques like brainstorming, structuring, drafting the writing, the text, using mind mapping, using a variety of graphic organizers which will help us create a better text. Also, we will be seeing the techniques like pre-reading and note taking. So we have a lot of things going on here. Let's start the lecture and we will be seeing each thing one by one and the whole process of approach of writing. So for vertical linkage, we have these two SLOs linked with the previous grade. Let's begin by reading a beautiful verse from the Holy Quran. This is from Surah Al-Alaq, chapter 96, verse 1 to 5. Let's read it. Read in the name of your Lord who created man from a clinging substance. Read, and your Lord the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man that which he knew not. Subhanallah, it's such an enlightening verses from the Holy Quran. It talks about how Allah taught us by the pen, the power of writing, the actual importance of using a pen, which means to write something, and writing and passing along our information or general ideas. So Allah is clearly mentioned that we have taught you using the pen, which tells us that this is very important and we have to have a good writing skill so that we can convey our message effectively. So now here we have an interesting pre-reading question. So what comes to mind when you hear the word writing process? What steps do you think are involved in writing something from the start to finish? So you might have write so many things like answers to questions, essays, short stories, and so many other text types. So when you are asked to write something as an assignment, as a homework, what do? How do you approach it? So you might have a step-by-step approach to make the answer or the essay happen. So can you recall that? Pause the video, think about it, think about your writing process, and then we will talk about the process approach of writing. I hope that you've done it. Let's storm your brains a little and think about the process of writing. How do we write an effective text or anything like an essay or other text types? Now, I have an interesting activity for you. Discuss it with a partner. When you write something, for example, a story, a writing assignment, or anything, how do you approach it? Do you have a specific way of getting started? Yes, you may have some strategies, some tricks under your sleeve. So now, think about it, talk to your partner, and share your writing processes or the steps that are involved in your creative writing process. So let's see what is a process approach. The process approach to writing is a method that involves several stages. It helps you improve the quality of your writing. In process writing, students have the chance to think about what they are going to write, produce drafts, revise, edit, and give and receive feedback on their work or any written piece before coming up with the final version, the final draft of the text. So what do we learn from this? There is a whole process of generating an effective text. So it includes things like drafting, revising, editing, taking and giving feedbacks, and then producing the final version or the final draft that you publish or submit to the relevant person. So now we know that it is a method and it has some steps. Let's see what they are. So steps of process approach of writing is pre-writing, drafting, revising, and editing. Let's get started with pre-writing. What do you think about it when you hear the name pre-writing? Yes, all the stuff that we do, the actions, the things that we do before actually writing our first draft is under the pre-writing step. So in the pre-writing, we first of all consider the audience to whom we are writing for, and also the purpose of writing any text. So the audience is who you are writing for. If you know who you are writing for, you can make good decisions about what information to include, as well as your tone and language in conveying it. So considering acknowledging the audience, the type of audience is very important. It will help you generate text according to the level of the audience, whether they want, whether they are interested or not, whether the language or tone is appropriate according to the audience. You have to think about it beforehand. And now the purpose is the goal or aim of a piece of writing: to express oneself, to provide information, to persuade, or to create a literary work. There are 4 purposes writers use for writing. So why are we writing? When we are writing, are we fulfilling the purpose? Because if there is no purpose, then we are writing aimlessly and there is no point of writing it. So what are these 4 purposes? To express ourselves, to provide information, to persuade or convince the readers about any topic, any concept, or to create a literary work like a short story, a novel, a novella. So these are the 4 purposes for writing. You have to think about them before the actual writing begins. Now we have some techniques of pre-writing before we begin to draft it. So what are these? Number 1 is brainstorming. Yes, just as we did in the beginning of the lesson, we brainstormed. Now we're going to brainstorm about what we are writing and the things that we need to mention. So there are a lot of things that are going in your mind about the related topic given or the title assigned to you of writing anything, of any written assignment. So in the brainstorming process, it is a method or a process of generating ideas for writing or problem solving. It actually involves 2 steps: generating ideas and selecting useful ideas. So when you're brainstorming, you are actually coming up with so many different ideas. Some are worth it and some are not resonating with the topic. So you pick up the ones that are resonating to your topic, and you consider them, and also you put all of your ideas into one place on the paper or on the whiteboard or blackboard, whatever format you're using. So this is the benefit of brainstorming before writing or drafting anything. So we have another technique here. It's called listing, generating broad ideas, then building on them with more detail in bullet pointed lists. Then group and label these lists so you have possible subpoints to develop. You list down each and everything, and then further list if you've listed something main and you are further listing down, making subpoints, then you will have a complete understanding, a complete list of all the things and the subpoints that you're going to mention. So when do we use it? We use it, you need to produce a lot of information in a short amount of time, or when you have a broad topic that you need to narrow down. So when we are in that kind of situation, we use the technique of listing, and it helps us generate more ideas and break down our bigger topic, bigger title or subject into portions. Also, we have yet another good technique called mind mapping, suggested by the name. You map everything that is coming in your mind. So a visual strategy that shows hierarchy and explores relationships between topics or ideas. They're also called clustering. Mind mapping is also called clustering. Here's when do we use it? You are a visual learner who likes to the bigger picture of how ideas relate to one another. When we are visualizing our ideas or concepts in our mind onto the paper or on any material, we actually see what is going on and how can we take things further. So mind mapping is a very good technique. You map out everything in your mind about that particular topic. Now, my dear learners, we have a very interesting technique of free writing. Yes, it's called free writing because you write freely without hesitation, without thinking about the punctuation, grammar, typos, errors, or anything. You just keep on writing until all the things in your mind about that particular topic is met, and then you're done with it. So you write it until you're done with it, and each and every concept is portrayed, is done on the paper. So free writing is a writing technique that can help generate new ideas. Free writing involves writing non-stop for a continuous period of time and forgetting grammatical concerns. It does not follow a structure or require a specific form or style. You just write it freely. So this was about free writing. And now outlining. You make outline, right? So create a basic structure for your writing by outlining main ideas and supporting points. This helps provide a roadmap for your draft and ensures a logical flow. You have to be logical, and the things need to be cohesive, interconnected, and in a chronological order. So that's why we make outlines, so that we know that which thing we are addressing at the right time and in a right order. Now we have our step number 2. After the pre-writing, we have drafting. This is the time when you are actually writing about the topic. So drafting is writing the material in its intended format, whether you want it to be a paragraph, a short story, or an essay. Here, when you are actually started writing it. So in the process approach to writing, drafting is the stage where you take your pre-writing ideas and transform them into a cohesive piece of writing. It's where you put pen to the paper or fingers to your keyboard and develop your initial version of the text, which we call first draft. So this is when you create a draft. That's why it's named drafting. So what is a first draft? The first draft is a preliminary attempt, the first attempt to get ideas down on paper. It's okay if your ideas aren't very clear and completely formed yet. Writing them can shape it in the desired format. It can shape your thoughts and guide you to your conclusion. Also, let's see what is a first draft. Let's understand by an example. An example of a draft could be the first version of an English language essay where the student writes down their ideas quite roughly, probably for the first time, and might not have checked for spelling, grammatical errors, logical fallacies, and ambiguities. So there are structural errors. All these things are not addressed yet. So this is the first draft. My dear learners, there are some more details. When you're writing, use, for example, if you're writing a descriptive essay or text, you will use vivid and sensory details and a lot of detail writing. So as you write, make sure to include sufficient details to support your main ideas. Use descriptive language, specific examples, vivid imagery, and relevant anecdotes to bring your writing to life and engage your reader. So you have to add details. Now let's understand this. Stay organized. Yes, you have to organize your stuff in a good manner. So pay attention to the organization and structure of your writing. Make sure your ideas flow logically from one paragraph to the next, and that each paragraph focuses on a single main point. This is why we divide our writings into paragraphs. Each paragraph is a thing in its own, so you have to have a logical flow in your writing. So incorporate, add details, and also make everything in an organized way. We are here at our step number 3, which is revising. After writing the first draft, what do? We read it, we revise it. If we have left anything, if we missed anything, or if we need to improve anything. So this is why we revise. We review and revise. Once you've completed your first draft, take some time to review and revise it. Look for areas where you can add more details or clarify your ideas. Check for any errors in grammar, spelling, or punctuation, and make corrections as needed. So this is the purpose of reviewing and revising. So also, what do? We take help, we take feedback. So consider sharing your first draft with a peer, your teacher, your fellow, your friend, your mentor for feedback. They can offer valuable insights and suggestions for improvement to help you strengthen your writing. So we all make mistakes and there's always room for improvement. That's why a feedback is very important. So we are here at our last step, which is editing and proofreading. You're familiar with the word editing. In this one, this refers to making more local changes to things like sentence structure and your phrasing to make sure your meaning is conveyed clearly and concisely. We make some, while in the editing process, we may add something, we may eradicate something from the text. So hence this is very important step. Now you're familiar with the word proofreading. What do? We actually look for mistakes. We look for flaws and ambiguities in the text. We become detectives. So proofreading involves looking at the text closely, line by line, word by word, to spot any typos, typing errors, and issues with consistency, and we also correct them in the whole process. So this is why proofreading is done, and this is why it is very important. My dear learners, after understanding about the whole process of the writing approach, the process approach, let's do an interesting classroom activity. Imagine you're creating a time capsule to be opened 100 years from now. Inside you want to include a description of a typical day that you're spending as a ninth grader. So you will use this process approach, brainstorm, mind map and drafting, and follow this whole process and generate a very good text according to the topic. So now we have an interesting simulation about the writing process in detail. You can, if you're interested, you can watch this simulation video and learn more about the writing process. My dear fellow teachers, we have a worksheet included. In this one, we have shared the writing process in which pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing, and proofreading, all these steps are mentioned. The student will be able to grasp the concept and then put it into practice. So now we are at the end. We have a homework for you. It says write a descriptive style essay on the topic a forgotten place by using the process approach of writing. The pre-writing, drafting, editing, and all that, all those steps that we have learned just now, you will put them into practice and generate a very good essay of descriptive style, a descriptive essay on the topic a forgotten place. So now we are at the end. We have some resources for your help. They are added in the description of the video. You can find them easily. Resources like question bank, worksheet, skill sheet, presentation, and last but not the least, a lesson plan. These things are included in the video. I hope that you have learned the writing process, the process approach of writing, and now you will be easily generating a very efficient, flawless first draft, or ultimately then if you revise it, then you will come to the final draft and then you hand it over or publish, or whatever you like. So I hope that you had good time learning and understanding the concept. Until the very next lecture, Allah Hafiz.